Erica Meier is our next panelist. She is the Executive Director of Compassion Over Killing, which does excellent work to reach out to mainstream food retailers to get them to offer more vegan food, making it more accessible. She started actually doing animal protection work as an investigator protecting animals at a shelter, like just in the streets where animals are mistreated. So real on-the-ground experience, which is very cool. Thank you very much, Michael. Our next speaker is Erica Meier from Compassion Over Killing.
Thank you. How's everyone doing this morning? So, does anyone know what you call a fish with no eyes? I like this side of the room a lot. Are you guys writing this down? How do I get this up here? All right. So how many of you guys in the room right now, this is your first National Animal Rights Conference that you've been to? Awesome. That is fantastic. And it's been a really fun and productive weekend, right? And you guys, the people who have never been here before, you may not know it, but you guys, by showing up here this morning, Sunday morning, after a very long and fun night at the banquet and the networking, you guys just passed the Animal Rights Dedication Test. So congratulations to you all. Do we have the clicker? Is that up here? The clicker? That's okay. Yay. All right. Got it. I think we're good. All right. So this morning I want to talk to you guys about some strategies for farmed animals that you can easily get engaged in and make huge changes for animals. And some of it is about what Michael and Bruce were both talking about. So today we're all here because we all love animals, right? We love all kinds of animals. We're here because we know that animals raised for food, cows, pigs, and chickens, are no different than the animals, the dogs and the cats, the companions we care for in our homes. We know that these animals feel joy, they feel companionship, they feel sadness and grief. Just like all the farmed animals out there, we know that these animals are all the same. So we are here because we want to know what we can do to effectively make a difference in all of these animals' lives. We also know at the same time that the overwhelming majority of animals in the United States today are animals who are raised for food, and they're raised in unimaginably cruel ways, and they're slaughtered for us to eat. More than 9 billion animals are raised and killed for food in the U.S., and you can see from this pie chart that the blue in the pie chart represents farmed animals, and that red sliver up top represents all the other animals and all the other animal abusing industries combined, including animals who are euthanized in shelters. So when we get engaged in farmed animal advocacy, we're out there helping the overwhelming majority of animals who are in the United States today, and these are animals who are raised and killed for us to eat. We also know that when you go to the grocery store, you get the same myths that you learned when you were growing up as a kid, that these animals, these are old McDonald's farm, they're living very happy lives, and these are the myths perpetuated by the meat, egg, and dairy industries. But in reality, these animals are living on massive factory farms, and if you were to drive by one of these, you might not even know that there are tens of thousands of animals confined inside these sheds. You might have no idea, except you might smell this overpowering smell of manure, and that's the only way you might recognize that there's a factory farm in that area. And these factories do not want people to see what happens inside. It's our job as a movement to bring factory farms to the public because the public does not want people inside. Because it's much easier for them to sell their products and their Happy Meals and get kids to sing Oscar Mayer wiener songs about how great it is to be bologna or whatever that song is, than it is to tell the reality of where these animals are truly coming from. They want to distance us from the reality that these were once living, breathing beings who are no different from the dogs and cats in our homes. And we are so lucky as a movement to have people who are brave and courageous enough to get jobs inside these factory farms and wear hidden cameras and expose the truth that no one would ever know about except for the fact that they are going behind closed doors. And I want to recognize one of those individuals today. Crystal is one of our former undercover investigators. She just completed her last investigation with us, and she's going to law school in the fall. And I want everyone, if you have a chance, to go up and talk to her and thank her for her bravery. We have note cards where you can send to other investigators currently in the field. Crystal's right here. Can you get up and say hi? And the footage that's coming out of these facilities allows us to push this issue forward and encourage people to choose compassion. And so what we're seeing as a result of more and more of this video footage getting out there and these discussions that are being had because of it, we're seeing an increased number of people who are in fact eating less and less meat. We know statistically that right now there are about 15 million Americans who are vegetarian 100% of the time. But we also know more significantly that 50 million more Americans are vegetarian about half of the time. That means we are convincing people, while they're not yet quite vegetarian, they are significantly reducing their meat consumption. And thanks to a poll that was done by the meat industry, we know that 60 million Americans currently participate in Meatless Mondays. So this is a significant jump in the number of people who are looking for vegan options in the marketplace. A growing number of people are learning why they should not eat animals. And so we also have to, as Michael was pointing out, help give them the tools how to become vegetarian and vegan. And a growing number of people are out there talking about this. We have celebrities from Bill Clinton and Ellen DeGeneres. With David Carter Jr., who's a football player, is out there. He's a 300-pound vegan talking about how you can be strong and be compassionate at the same time. These people are out there talking about the benefits of not eating animals. Cory Booker is now vegan. He is a longtime vegetarian. He's a senator in Congress on Capitol Hill. He provides vegan meals to his entire staff, and he talks about these issues. So we are really seeing the game changing right in front of our eyes, and we need to keep pushing that ball forward. We know that for years and years and years, meat consumption in the United States went up and up and up. And around 2007, statistically, we know that meat consumption started to drop. In fact, it's been plummeting about 12% in the last few years alone. And we also know that dairy consumption is dropping and egg consumption is also dropping, and we need to keep that trend moving forward. And what does that mean for animals? Well, you also heard Michael talk about the number of animals raised and killed for food. And that number, while our meat consumption was increasing, the number of animals raised and killed for food continued to increase. But around 2007, that number also started to drop significantly. And while this chart might not look, the last three bars on this chart are smaller than the other ones. You might not recognize the distinction, but that is about 500 million fewer animals who were raised and killed for food in the last few years. 500 million fewer animals who had to endure the horrors of factory farming. And that is a significant number that we should all be proud of and want to continue moving down the numbers increasingly as we move along. So I'm telling you all this good news. We're all eating less meat, less dairy, less eggs. The number of animals raised for food is going down. So these are all good things to be talking about, we should be proud of, we should be happy about. How did all of this happen? Does this mean now we can just sit back and relax and hang out? Does it mean that we can just go ahead and spend all day taking selfies with our companion animals and post them all on Facebook? Yeah, you can look, Michael. No, it doesn't mean that we need to sit back and relax, because in fact these changes are happening because we are making them happen, and we need to continue to make them happen. We need to team up, we need to get loud, get strong, and make change continue to happen. And that's exactly what we're doing. No matter where you are on your path to vegan eating, whether you adopt Meatless Mondays, whether you're a vegetarian, whether like Mark Bittman, you're vegan before 6, or like most of us in the room today, we're vegan before 6 and vegan after 6. We know that we have to help people on their path. It doesn't, for most people, happen overnight. This is a journey, and we need to help people along that path. When you guys tell people in your family, friends, coworkers that you're vegetarian or vegan, at least for me, the reaction that I often get is like, "That's so, I try not to eat as much meat. It's really good for you that you're doing this. I'm not sure that I could do it." And that's because right now, too many people think that being a vegetarian or vegan is an uphill battle. It's a struggle and it's a sacrifice. And all of you know that being vegetarian and vegan is fun. It makes you feel better about yourself from a health perspective. You have a lighter conscience because you're not contributing to the harm of animals. And that's what we need to let people know, that it is a fun thing that everyone wants to be part of and get on board with. We need people lining up to learn about these issues. So, what we're trying to do with some of the corporate campaigns that we're running is get more vegan options available. We want to put these vegan options in front of them so they're more likely to make that choice. We want to make it easier for them to choose vegan options. So one of the companies we started contacting a few years ago is Morningstar Farms. And this is the vegetarian product line that's owned by Kellogg's. And they used a lot of eggs in their products. So we asked them if they would remove eggs from their vegetarian products. And they were very receptive to this concept, and we talked to them for months and months and months about this, and finally one day one woman said, we think this is a really important issue, but we don't hear about it from customers. And that's when the bell went off. And so we created a website where people could call and email the company directly telling them that they wanted this company to stop using eggs altogether because they were using eggs from battery cages. So when the company finally got enough consumers to contact them, they got back to us and said, well, we can't completely stop using eggs, but we will start reducing our use of eggs by at least 1 million per year. And by reducing their use of eggs by at least 1 million per year, since they made that decision, this company has used over 8 million fewer eggs. Just one company, which means 32,000 fewer hens are suffering on factory farms. And that's just one company's decision. We decided after Morningstar Farms made this decision, we immediately started contacting other companies. We're like, Lightlife, have you seen what Morningstar Farms just did? And they got back to us immediately and said, yes, we're on it. We're going to reduce our use of eggs as well. We then went out to BOCA Foods and we said, hey, BOCA, did you guys just see what Lightlife and Morningstar Farms did? And this company was pretty slow to respond to us. We put together a whole website. We got so many people contacting the company that 2 weeks into this public campaign, the company asked us to put a moratorium on the campaign so they could focus on this issue. And less than 2 months after we launched the whole campaign, the company came back and said, we are 100% egg-free. And it's because they were so bombarded with feedback from consumers like you. So then we also went out and asked Corn to do the same thing. And Corn never made a vegan product until we contacted them. And they immediately put a focus on this issue. They reformulated, reduced significantly the number of eggs that they use, and they introduced their first ever vegan product in the United States. And all of these companies combined, since we've been contacting them and pushing them on this issue, and since you've been reaching out to them, they all combined, 25 million fewer eggs have been used by these companies, which is 100,000 fewer hens who are suffering on factory farms, all because of these companies' decisions, because of you. And so what we need to do is continue asking these companies what it is that we want. We can't expect them to make changes if they don't know what changes we want to be made. So there are fast food to 4-star restaurants who are now responding to consumer interest in vegan options, from Chipotle and Johnny Rockets, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, where you can get anything on the menu made with Beyond Meat, and they'll take the regular meat out, and they will veganize your meal for you, to Pita Pit on college campuses across the country offering vegan options. And they're even promoting it by saying, don't substitute meat, surpass it, introducing the spicy black bean pita, a healthy way to get your protein. And this is all because consumers are asking for it. So we also talked really briefly about Subway. Subway is the world's largest fast food chain. There are more Subways than there are McDonald's. And you guys have been asking Subway, tens and tens of thousands of you have been asking Subway for vegan options, and they began testing them a couple years ago. And right now, you can find 2 different all-vegan patties clearly marked in their stores in over 1,000 locations throughout California, Massachusetts, DC, Connecticut, and Florida. And they're slowly rolling this out. And not only do 1,000 Subway stores now have vegan options, they are actively promoting this as a company with advertisements in local newspapers, encouraging people to get your vegan on. We also have been reaching out to Dunkin Donuts, one of the world's largest coffee and baked goods chain. They never offered a dairy-free option for coffee drinkers until you guys started to reach out to them. Now they have almond milk on the menu at all of their locations nationwide. And we're now asking people to go back to our website, welovedunkin.com, thank them for the almond milk, and encourage them to take the next step and make a vegan donut as well. So please visit. So please go to welovedunkin.com and ask them to make this change. We also reached out to Tim Hortons, which has more locations throughout Canada than Burger King. And they also did not have any dairy option on the menu for coffee drinkers. And you guys reached out to them and they responded, and you can now find soy milk and signs promoting it throughout Tim Horton locations in Canada, and with enough consumer feedback, they're going to bring it to the U.S. as well. So please reach out to them and encourage them to add soy milk to their U.S. locations. We're also seeing Ben & Jerry's, as Michael pointed out. Ben & Jerry's has now committed to making a dairy-free ice cream. We're also seeing IKEA is making vegan meatballs, which you can now find in their cafeterias, and Girl Scout cookies that are even going vegan. White Castle, you guys are, if you're not familiar with the restaurant, you might be more familiar with the movie of Harold and Kumar going to White Castle. This is a place that is notorious for its sliders, and they're now offering a vegan slider that you can get on their menu. And our newest campaign that we're now asking people to participate in is encouraging Starbucks. This is a company that offers both soy milk and coconut milk on its menu for coffee, but they don't have a lot of food options. We're asking people to reach out to them and to offer more vegan food options. And it's been just a couple of weeks since we launched a petition on change.org. The company has already gotten back to us, and they said, we're in the testing stages of several new products. We have our vegan customers in the forefront of our minds, and we can't wait to present some new food options to accommodate the vegan diet and our loyal customers that have requested these options. So this demonstrates the importance of asking for these options. And while not all companies are quite on board yet offering vegan options, they are increasingly recognizing that meat is becoming a bad word. And so 43% of conversations have been shown on the internet, 43% of conversations about meat have been shown to be bad concerns or problems. That's how people are associating the word meat. So Taco Bell's decided they're not even going to call it meat anymore. They're going to call it protein. And I think this just demonstrates the fact that we're winning when people think of meat as a bad thing and companies don't even want to use that word anymore. Another sign that we're winning, when you guys read your favorite industry journal, meatpoultry.com, and there's an article in there that says, why doesn't industry make meat analogs? And specifically, they highlight, this is a meat journal, a meat industry journal. The primary reason people choose a vegetarian or vegan diet is to reduce animal suffering. If consumers are going to buy meat analogs, you might as well be the one selling them. Don't fight them, join them. Here is an opportunity. I got 1 minute. We have to get out there and make the ask. We have to call these companies, we have to email these companies, and if you're there in person, talk to a manager, leave a card. We have restaurant cards you can leave with them asking companies for more vegan options. They have to hear from you. We have to reach out, and we have to do it for her, and for her. That's our goal. It's not necessarily about getting vegan options so we have more choices. That's a great outcome for us, yes. It's about encouraging more people to choose the vegan option when they see it, because the end game is to make a difference for these animals so fewer people are eating them and fewer of these animals endure the abuses that we know they endure every single day. So if you guys were at the morning plenary on Friday, I asked you if you knew how many animal abusers it took to screw in a light bulb. And the answer is none, because they want to keep you in the dark. But now I want to ask you guys if you know how many vegans it takes to change a light bulb. The answer is it doesn't even matter, because we're not here to change a light bulb. We are here to change the world. Thank you.